Hi, my name's Peyton.
Hi, my name is Kayleen, and this is our project Nested. The reason why we chose to do a housing project instead of transportation or house security or other things, we wanted to choose housing is because we feel this problem is something that we see a lot with us personally and other peers who go to CU Denver. Considering this campus is not like a regular campus, housing options are a lot different. There is on-campus options, but it's pretty limited, and most students consider other options. And this can be a problem because city living can be expensive, and you almost always need a roommate, or other people will travel long distances and they may not want to do that. So, we want to help combat this problem to be able to figure out how to afford housing and how to find housing for a campus like CU Denver.
The current government problem we decided to solve was housing, but specifically housing for college students. As most of you know, housing for college students, whether it be on campus or off campus, is extremely unaffordable and inadequate. According to College Board, students completing post secondary educations during the 2017-2018 school year paid an average of $12,210 in room and board fees at private 4 year institutions, and $10,800 for public 4 year institutions. Keep in mind, most institutions only allow you to live on campus while school is in session, meaning you would only be living there 9 months out of the year. So if you break it down, you would be paying about $1,356 a month for a private university and about $1,200 for a public university. And then, according to data reported to US News in an annual survey, the average cost of tuition fees for 2019-2020 school year was $41,426 at private colleges, $11,260 for state residents at public colleges, and $27,120 for out-of-state students at state schools. This problem takes a huge toll on college students everywhere, and in the long term can affect their success rate in college.
For students trying to find housing, it can be hard to find adequate and affordable living places, and this can lead to at least 56,000 students that are homeless. And we know that this can affect how students learn, but there's huge gaps in research and national data on this problem. And this can also affect students who are off campus living because a number of federal and institutional policies may leave students with unmet needs since they are not taking in consideration of other living arrangements. So, because of all these problems where students may become homeless because they can't find housing options or they just can't find housing options in general, we wanted to create Nested to combat this problem of students struggling to find affordable housing. We wanted the app to provide resources and alternative options to just besides staying on campus.
So, the features for our app, we have two different ones. So, the main feature we focused on was the search engine for finding housing. So, you simply put your name, the location you desire, what school you attend, and your earnings you make as a student. Um, we thought this information was most relevant not only for finding housing, but finding housing that's affordable for college students and like finding housing that's close to campus. Um, the other feature we decided to include was a resource page. This was important to us because we wanted a way to raise awareness of the problem at hand, but then it also gives college students the information to resources they may need that they have access to that they just don't know about.
The objective for our user research was to see how users would respond using the app and if the process made sense. We conducted user tests on what users had to say to help better our app experience. The test consisted of users using a mock up of our app design to see what worked and what did not. Our demographic was we focus on ages 18 to 25 because that's usually the age range for normal college students. We also researched on people who were either mostly full-time students or part-time. We also researched people who had a common share with finances, all either working full-time or part-time to be able to pay for college expenses, and none of them lived alone. They either lived with their parents or they lived with other roommates. So for user research, users overall understood how to use the app and the functions it offered. About half the group struggled in the beginning from the flow from screen to screen. They would click somewhere and get confused on how to get back to the main original screen. The research page needed to be updated because users wanted a way to ask questions or have a search option for the links in the research page. Right away, we noticed that users would speed through the app until something like caught their eye or their attention, or they were confused with a certain function with the app. Almost every person at some point had to ask a question about the app's function or something they're confused about. Some questions were, how do I get to the screen? How do I get back? Do links bring me to a different site, or is it still in the original app? Can you edit your saved results once you already submitted your personal information? What we noticed from observing users using the app is that they needed us to be there to answer their questions. So this was a problem because we wanted users to be able to use the app comfortably and efficiently without us intervening to tell them what each step and what to do. So we took notes on this so we were able to go back and fix the app so it would make it more user-friendly.
So, our findings from our research, we found that the overall usability of the app was pretty understandable and user friendly. Um, the concept for our app was really well received. We users, as in college students, would be very likely to use the app, hence the well received feedback of the concept. So, that was really good. We also found that the resources tab generated a lot of positive feedback that also would be used prominently in our application.
So for our competitive research, we found out very quickly that there are many competitors out in the housing market. One of our main competitors was Zillow. They already had such a large following and already had so many positive reviews. Their interface also ran really smoothly and it made a lot of sense to us. We didn't dwell on a lot of things that confused us on the app. We took inspiration from what worked like in Zillow and their smooth performance and what didn't work in other apps, so we didn't want to have those problems in our app. What we did notice is a lot of apps and websites were either apps or websites. They didn't really have cross platforms. Also, some platforms need you to put in a lot of information in the beginning for them to generate results. And this does help generate better results when you have more information, but spending 5 to 10 minutes putting in tedious notes can deter users. So we wanted to have a balance between having enough information but not knowing everything about the user. We also noticed a lot of apps had the same design. This design did work with apps and websites, but really we noticed the only thing that really differentiated them was their color palette. A lot of websites and apps did have a special feature with them, like a distance calculator or a research page, which was nice. Most programs were easy to use, but some of them really wanted a lot of information right off the bat. When people really only wanted to put so much information, and if they wanted to further their research, they'd put more. So we were kind of leaning toward that kind of situation. But all of our research on our competitors really helped us figure out how we wanted to improve our app or what we wanted to change our app and what worked and what didn't. So for our competitive analysis chart itself, I kind of covered how Zillow did, and it was the overall best competitor for our app. And some questions we wanted to ask and compare is, are you able to get information quickly? Does the program work on mobile and website? Is the program easy to use? Is it aesthetically pleasing? And is there a special feature? And is it versatile for younger and new home buyers? So overall, Zillow did probably the best, but I kind of scored lower on aesthetically pleasing because it had a kind of a repeating normal theme compared to all the other ones. Um, but overall, it was easy to use, and I would say it was pretty good for younger home buyers. Another platform, Homes Apartments for Rent, did not do so well, but we took what it didn't do well information and was able to apply to our app to make sure if that's not what to do. And overall, that was probably the least helpful app, but I mean, you were able to find information quickly, and it was kind of catered to younger home buyers. But overall, it was only an app platform. The program was not super easy to use, and it didn't really have anything special about it. It was pretty straightforward. So, on the ranking scale, it wasn't the most competitive. Um, Spare Room USA was probably one of our other picks. It did pretty good across the chart, but still, it wasn't on multiple platforms. It was just an app. And when it comes to aesthetically pleasing, it wasn't really that pleasing. It had still like a repeating format like all the other apps did, but was catered to young buyers, and it did have a special feature. So I think we could use like what it did right and apply it to our app. But overall, in a competitive chart, I would say that we would probably learn the most from Zillow because they have the most we could use from.
So here are low fidelity wireframes for our mobile. Um, as you can see, there's 4 screens on drawn out here. The first one is just the home page. The second one is the hamburger menu and like what all the tabs are. And the third one is our finding housing search engine type slide. And then the last one is our resources feature.
So for our tablet version, we wanted it to be pretty similar to the mobile, but obviously have some key differences. When it comes to the About Me, the home page, and the page where you put in your personal information to generate results, that will be all the same. Our drawdown bar might be a little different considering it's on a larger screen, but all key features and links are all going to work similar to the mobile version. A key difference will be instead of seeing on such a small screen in the mobile where you'll have to scroll to look at housing options, the tablet version will display a more horizontal look. You can still scroll, but you're able to see multiple housing options at once, so you're able to compare more housing options. But as in how the tablet works, it's pretty similar to the mobile, just minor changes so it would be compatible with the tablet version.
So then this is our low fidelity wireframe for the desktop version. As you can see, the layout's just a tiny bit different since it is a desktop. The hamburger menu is switched to the bar on the top where you can get all the tabs. And then here we've included the home page, the about page, the search engine for finding housing, and then the resource page.
So this is our high fidelity wireframes for the mobile version. We wanted to use a simple color palette and to complement the app. So all of our stuff is pretty straightforward. We have a homepage where you can read information about what we do and why we do it. And then you can continue on to go put in more personal information to help generate results to find housing options. And we'll have a drawdown bar so you can click on other tabs like resources to find links and other information, different search results, or to go back to your original profile to edit information to help you find other housing options. Overall, with our mobile version, we probably had the most iterations, the most editing, and probably the most feedback that came with it. It was our first app of this entire project, so we really had to fix all the bugs and all the things that weren't working with it. One of our main critiques and problems we got back with it is it wasn't working, period. Our very first mock-up we made, there was bad slide transition, images weren't showing up, it wasn't smooth, and half of our slides didn't really download. So we took that input, we went back and we edited everything. We also added like a search feature and make sure we really finalized if there was edits, and made sure that everything went smoothly. But I would say that our mobile version was the version that we learned the most about, because it was the one we most struggled with, considering we had to work with a new program, Adobe XD, and try to do a lot of research on what we wanted to do and how we wanted it all to look.
So here's the high fidelity wireframes for the tablet version. The first screen, the top left, is the homepage, just kind of telling users what Nested is and how it came to be. The bottom left is that search engine where you type in the name or your name, the location you're looking for, what school you attend, and the earnings for how much you can afford for housing. Then the top right is a visual of the generated search. So it shows the different houses that fit your criteria, and then the black hearts signify your liked houses or saved searches. And then the bottom right is the resource page where you can see all of these links, like take a quiz on what living it, or take a quiz on what living is best suited for you. Yeah.
So also for our tablet version, we had to make sure we did research to differentiate our tablet from our mobile version. Originally we struggled with this because we were just, as we were not supposed to, just enlarging images and text to fit a bigger screen. For our safe search section, this worked, but for the entire thing, it wasn't really a tablet experience. So we had to go back and research on how to make it a tablet experience, which did take some work because originally we just copy and pasted. But with research and user testing, we were able to figure out like a good, decent template for our tablet version. But it was definitely trial and error to make sure that we weren't just taking a corner and just elongating text and images. So for our website version, we wanted to make sure that it was different from the tablet and mobile version. So we did research to make sure that we had a nice website template so it would be easy for users to use. Color palette and information is all the same like on the other two platforms. We just edited where the drawdown bar is and where other things were posted, like a website template. Most things function the same, homepage functions the same, putting in your information functions the same. We did add more images, and especially for the resource page, we edited it so the links would work on a website. So the links, when you clicked on them, would take you to other existing tabs, compared to on the app version, when you would click on links in the resource page, it would stay just on the app. So that's a big difference for our website version, is mostly the research page. But as the same with the tablet version, you're able to look at images more on a horizontal plane. Still scroll motion, but way bigger than your common iPhone. Still has all the same features like saved pages, and you could still go back and put in more information if you want to find more key results. But our biggest change was the resource page, because we didn't think that it would be easier to go on different tabs on your website, because it's just easier. So for our website version, we had to do additional research like we did for our past tablet and mobile version. We had to figure out how to even make a website tablet, because we had previous experience with making app versions of our mobile and tablet, but then we kind of got thrown a curveball with making a website version. Originally, we were making the mistake of trying to make our website look exactly like our tablet and mobile, and those are two different experiences. So with user testing and lots of trial and error, we figured out of using a more simple template for our website. They work compatible with our tablet and mobile, but they are clearly a different experience. we got positive feedback from our user testing, and we decided to include all the original like drawdown options from our tablet and mobile. And as I said previously, our research page was mostly the one that we worked on the most, because we wanted to, that was a thing that was giving us the most trouble.
Okay, so here is the home screen for the mobile high fidelity wireframe. This just kind of goes over what Nested is and like our mission and values, basically just telling our story. So if you click get started, it brings you here. So here is the find housing search engine, I would call it. So there's a spot to list your name, location, school, and earnings. This way, it just generates a more accurate search for college students looking for affordable housing. So once you input all of that data, as you see here, you click next, and it generates houses and apartments that are within your search criteria. Also, something important to point out is the hearts to the left or to the right of each image. The black ones indicate your saved searches, so those are just like to keep track of which ones you like the most so you don't lose track of them. If you go into the hamburger menu on the left hand upper corner, you can go specifically to your saved searches, and then it brings up your list of all of the houses that you've saved, or apartments I should say. So that's the first feature of finding housing. Our second feature is resources. So if you go back into that hamburger menu, you can click resources, and it brings up all of these different quizzes and articles, basically just giving you the information you might need as a college student. So the first one is a quiz on what kind of living is best suited for you. So if you click on that, it brings you to this, and just talks about like what kind of housing you're looking for, your price range, all that kind of stuff, and then you can generate it and see what your answer is. Yeah, and that's basically the mobile application.
So this is our tablet version, and it has the same original homepage like the mobile version does, where it gives you information about who we are and why we created this app. Next slide you'll see is our regular nested get started page. We have same color palette and scheme across all three of our platforms. This slide is our regular, where you would put in your personal information so you can help generate results for the app. This slide, second screen, is just a snapshot of you putting in your personal information with the keyboard, which is different from mobile version because it's a tablet. So next screen is where all the results would generate, and you can see it's different from mobile version because you're able to see more options. So you can scroll through more options because it's a bigger tablet, but you still have the drawdown bar that you have on the mobile version, and the search option if you wanted to find a specific area or house. Next screen is your saved searches. So if you wanted to go refer back to other things that you've liked so you can compare pricing or location, you're able to do that in the saved searches section. This is just a visual of our drawdown bar, where you can click on home, housing, resources, or safe searches. It's just to give a snapshot of what that would look like on the mobile version. Next screen is our resources page where you're able to click links, and so you can further on your research if you had any personal questions on how to find housing or pet-friendly dorms or how to find roommates. So this is our quiz portion. It looks very similar to a mobile, but it's kind of like a more interactive experience to what's your price range and how to help narrow it down. This is our just more informational page, so you can help find other information and tips. It's just an example of what that would look like. This is our saved area for pet-friendly dorms. So you could it's just another save section. And then this is our roommate section, so it's just similar to mobile, but the information's the same, but it just looks different. And then, yeah, that is our app.
Alright, so as you can see, this is our desktop version of our high fidelity wireframes. We changed the layout of our desktop version a little bit just because you have more room to work with on a desktop version, and we wanted to make it, I guess, more intuitive to desktop users. So instead of a hamburger menu, we put in a header bar where we have tabs for the home page, the about page, the housing page, and the resources page. So this is the main screen. It just talks about Nested's story, how it came to be, that kind of fun stuff. So if you go to learn more about Nested, it brings you to our about page. You could have clicked the about tab as well, but this is just talking about our story and why we decided to choose this topic, I guess, and how we could relate to the issue. And then getting into the features, we have the housing feature, which is that search engine where you input your name, location, school, earnings, just so that you can get an adequate generation or adequate search. Yeah, a generated list of adequate housing. Sorry. So once you input that information, it brings you to those generated houses that fit your criteria. As well as the mobile and tablet version, we have the hearts on the side indicating saved searches. So the black hearts would indicate those saved searches. That's just a way that we can keep all of those searches in one place. So if you forget, it's easy to just go to your saved searches and locate those. So then our other feature is the resource feature, and just like mobile and tablet, it brings up quizzes and articles based on things that college students might need to know or don't know about, that once they read this, they get it. So, yeah. Also, with it being a desktop version, there's more room to give you a little bit more information. So, like, as you can see, like where to find pet-friendly dorms, it has a little like subheading that just like says here are pet-friendly residences near you. So that's also really nice, and and makes the desktop version a little bit more intuitive than the mobile and tablet. But yeah, this is the desktop version of our high fidelity wireframe. So that concludes our presentation for Nested. We wanted to say thank you for listening and watching us present. Thank you for following our process on how we found our problem and how we attempted to solve that problem. And we hope you enjoyed our prototypes and hope that they were easily understandable to you. But yeah, we just wanted to say thank you for listening and watching this. And yeah, that's it. Thank you so much.
I also wanted to say thank you for listening to our presentation and our process through figuring out what to do. It was definitely an experience, trial error. We had to do a lot of learning with new programs. Also with us getting kicked off of campus because of the virus, but we were able to keep up with coursework and keep up with this project, and we're able to figure out alternative ways to communicate. But this was definitely an experience, and overall, thank you for just listening to our thinking through our process, through our mock-ups, and for some of the users who tried out our projects. Thank you for your input. It really helped out with us figuring out how to tweak and edit all of our stuff. So thank you for listening.